Hello, welcome everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Love Storm Show. And tonight, with my co-host and myself, co-host Aaron Jackson, we will be discussing mental and emotional infidelity. And first, I always want to encourage you all, as always, to not give up on love. Don't stop loving so you don't miss your blessing. Love is everything. Turn it up. We know sometimes we face trials and tribulations that be so detrimental, so harsh, so heavy, that we can't keep our balance and have our balance so that we can have the joy and happiness that we all each deserve. So thank you all for joining in, those who shall see and hear. So as I said, we'll be discussing mental and emotional infidelity tonight. We'll try not to hold you all up too long. And we're going to see what we can touch. So all this, the information that's being shared is just kind of basic knowledge, maybe through experiences, those that we've seen, some things that's in black and white as to mental and emotional infidelity. So again, you may have faced those issues before, but don't let it discourage you from growing and having a healthy relationship. So I'm waiting for my co-host to come on, Mr. Jackson. I think I've added you. It says it's adding, so you should be coming on any moment. So y'all can as well preview any past videos on if you go to YouTube under the Love Storm. So that's love the_love_storm_show, the Love Storm Show. As well as you can go ahead, my album on my Facebook is open. You can review videos, past videos there as well. So with mental and emotional infidelity, what does that necessarily mean? What's the black and white definition of that? One that is also known as a affair of the heart. It's an emotional affair that can emerge into from a friendship into a more platonic, more progressive level of personal intimacy. And and you grow that attachment there. So a lot of times, some people may feel that, we are human, we have emotions, true enough. It's natural to love others, but we have to make sure we draw lines that we don't cross, especially when we're in a committed relationship. And if you're not sure if you're in a platonic relationship, you want to make sure that you're on the same page as your partner or significant other. Sorry, I sent you an invite, Aaron, if you on here is telling me that you're being added. Okay. So, again, so we know mental and emotional works together. So infidelity, it is a violation between an agreement between yourself and a partner. That could be ranging from emotional, sexual, exchange of words that may not be, on a level of respect. So I had to do a little research because realized, and I want to make sure I get some points. And I don't have all the information out, because with this type of um, study, experience, lifestyle, it is very strategic. Um, it's very deep. So the fact here, there are a few types of infidelity. One, we already know, the physical and emotional. But did you know that, and we all should already know this, there's cyber infidelity, object, financial, micro cheating. These are just a few of types of infidelity. Welcome. Hi, Mr. Jackson. Thank you for coming on. I was just speaking to everyone. First, a breakdown of what I've researched a little bit, though I'm already a little bit knowledgeable on. That's the mental and emotional infidelity, which is also known as an affair of the heart, because we first engage with individuals, with people, on an emotional affair first, and that's gaining through friendship, which progresses towards a greater level on a more personal intimacy of attachment. And so I was just letting everybody know that if you're in a platonic relationship, if it has not been already discussed where each party stands in a platonic relationship, so everyone should be already aware of any violations, because the little research here is that infidelity, it is a violation of a prior agreement between partners that regarding their sexual and emotional being exclusive. There are expressed that there are types of infidelity. This subject is so deep. I didn't realize how deep it was, because I was doing just a little bit of research, and then it goes on and on and on. So I just jotted down a few of those, and those infidelities we are already aware of are physical and emotional. There we also have cyber, object, financial infidelity, as well as micro cheating. So, being in a monogamous relationship, I think majority of us prefer a monogamy relationship, though we have other things that goes on that people prefer in preference. So be it. But that monogamy is having a one partner at a time. So we want to be certain and sure that when we're dealing in a relationship with others, that we want to make sure that we are on the same path. As I used to say in my future, when you're dealing with other people, that you want to know what do they expect? What is it? Is it longevity, short term? Because some people just want companionship for a temporary feel, or someone are looking for people that they can have long-term relationship. So any opening thoughts you may have?
I'm going to, first off, good evening, everyone. Happy Saturday. Um, Mr. Robinson asked a very, very, very good question.
Okay.
Now, he said, can you break down financial infidelity? Financial
Mm-hmm.
infidelity is real simple. And I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it 100. And I'm going to keep it on the street level. Because I don't want there to be no misunderstandings about what it is I'm getting ready to say. Financial infidelity. Something either you can do for your spouse or your mate that you chose to do for someone else, whether you're sleeping with them or not. Period. Now, platonic relationships, as Ms. Foxworth just said it, have to have stipulations, have to have rules, have to have guidelines. If you're in a relationship and you're giving someone out the kindness and goodness of your heart, that's one thing. However, you can also be, as it were, laying a trap, and you don't even know you're doing it, and that person is falling for it because they're receiving something from you, regardless how small it is. And the biggest thing is a lot of people don't get this. I don't want to take this. I don't want to take this someplace, right? But here's the thing: we're gonna keep it 100. All sin was a thought before it was an action. Period. Let's just not even play with it. Let's not fool around with it. Every last infidelity, whether it be financial, mental, spiritual, emotional, or physical, they all began with a thought. Granted, um, people are free to choose, to think and do as they see fit. However, if you have a partner, if you have a mate, and on a daily basis, you're expressing, you're showing to the best of your ability how much you care for this person, how much you'll be with this person, how much you stand by this person. Um, the slightest little thing can set that off. So you got to be real, real careful about what you do and about what you say. You have to be on guard for what it is that you love, for what it is that you want. Because at the end of the day, male or female, you're just nothing but a trick. Period. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. There's no way I'm going to give another woman that's not my mother, that's not my sister, or somebody that's real, real close to me, flowers and not do that for my other half. That's financial infidelity. There's no way in the world I'm gonna get on the phone and talk to another female, all secretive, and she's not hear exactly what it is that I'm saying, or at least know who it is that I'm talking to and what it is that we're speaking about.
Mm-hmm.
Again, um, um,
Yeah.
there are many different levels to this thing. There's so many unexplored patterns
Mm-hmm.
to this, and
Mm-hmm.
and and, and I hate to say it, but let's just call this what this is. Um, we can take that back to the Smiths. Real simple, real simple. The emotional infidelity started with a thought. The physical procedure and actions that followed were given birth to by that same thought. Make no mistake
Mm-hmm.
about what it is that I'm saying. It was a thought first,
Mm-hmm.
period. I don't care who you are. If you have the ability to walk, talk, think, and chew bubblegum all by yourself, you have the ability to reason. You have the ability to fundamentally apply logic to your situation. If you don't want to destroy whatever it is that you have, you will do everything in your power to fight it and to keep it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
okay, of course, all right, you got male friends, you got female friends. All right, cool. But you have to know when and where to draw the line. It's just certain things aren't
Mm-hmm.
said, not even jokes.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
now, now, I'm one of the few people you'll run across who has a weird, a different type sense of humor. I don't have no jokes with that because there's nothing funny about that. Nothing. Especially if a person has made the commitment willingly, willingly through due process of their own means and their own ability to move forward in a certain direction. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not serious, go ahead, keep playing, go have fun
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody
And
who everybody who's stable will be here when they get back. It's just that simple. It's just that simple.
yeah, and definitely to piggyback off of what you were saying as far as when you're saying about the spending, that falls up under financial infidelity. I want to just add to that. It's also stating that when you're being deceitful about your earnings, about how much debt you have, how much money you owe out. Like you said, um, if you loaning money out, when you're in a relationship, you're certainly in a committed marriage, most certainly you definitely don't want to be hinging out and passing out funds and without sharing it. Checking with your mate first because your funds is for your home, your household, and those things shouldn't go hidden. And another thing you was touching on was what micro cheating. It's like when you say when you're flirting, you say making certain comments and things like that. And with some of us the way we are, we're just natural loving people. We have to be double cautious because people would take it out of context. Like me personally, I'm always calling people, hey baby, thank you, baby, thank you. And some people be looking like, and I'm like, it's just a gesture. And it's crazy because that's how I was raised, because my cousins used to do that all the time. So me watching my older cousins do that, and I have to kind of catch myself, you know, in regards to speaking out like that to people. But it's just a kind gesture, speaking. So we do have to be cautious in speaking that term, and especially if it makes our mates uncomfortable, we do have to, kind of buckle down on that. Um, and so we already know what the physical infidelity is. The connection outside of your relationship. The emotional is always a catch-22 in a sense with the emotional, because we know everybody always seems to need somebody they need to talk to pour themselves out. Um, but like you said, that there has to be a line drawn, um, there to make others aware. I myself personally I have had to tell people, hey, that's not cool, or that's enough. I'm in a situation, I'm in a relationship. I can't, just be chill. Don't be that way, and if they really care for you, or if they really are friends and they really respect you, they respect that without um any due stress or feeling, rebutted at. Um, Something else that was the object infidelity. It says whereas one is more focused on something, such as a task or maybe work. Maybe they're so secluded with their phones. They're so busy with something else they don't take the time. So that being said, we just have to find a balance from distracting from the growth of your relationship. Um, so you can, you have a healthy relationship. And as we know, you and I both know, we have, sometimes when things kind of come up, we, have to take a recess. And as your favorite word says, reset, so that, you know, um, things can come back in balance. Um, is that how can you maintain your boundaries in a healthy manner? And that's straightforward. Just be open in conversation with your partner about your boundaries, and not be afraid to express that. And sometimes it could be uncomfortable, but you definitely want to make that known, especially want to have a healthy relationship and grow further with that. Um, what causes what for you, Mr. Jackson? What do you think? What causes infidelity?
I think for men, I'm I'm look, I'm getting ready to reach for my waist. I'm getting ready to unload, and it's about to be real ugly. Men, right? The young stage, okay, the stallion thing. All right, you knock off 2, 3 a night. All right, fine. And you get older, and you learn, and you start figuring out what it is that you want, and what it is that you don't want. So you start exploring, and sometimes it's warranted, and sometimes it's not. It all depends on the state of mind that that particular man is in. If he's already focused and happy with himself, anything that come at him, of course he's going to be cautious. Of course he's going to be wary. But the first thing that's going to happen to that man, he's going to light up like it's Christmas because someone is acknowledging him. Someone is
Mm-hmm.
paying him attention. In order for you
Yes,
to
you.
pay a man attention, you have to observe him first before you approach. That's with any man. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what age. I don't care what age a man is. The man will always bend, as it were, to whatever flirtatious advances it's thrown
Mm-hmm.
at him.
And
Not only to a point does it let him know, quote unquote, that he still got it, but
mm-hmm.
like, hey, I'm a pretty decent guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
clean. I'm all that, and that boosts the ego. But that takes it somewhere where it shouldn't. That takes it
Mm-hmm.
somewhere where it doesn't need to
Yeah.
go. Especially if
Exactly.
you're happy at home. Period.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I was looking at that. It says that the lack of relational or sexual satisfaction. So if you're not open, there's no. I mean, who can you fault? But that's a human. But the response you just gave is a human thing because I think, um, and just as well as female, you know, to hear or someone acknowledge you, it does. It's a dopamine. You know, it feels good. So yeah, it's natural to hear that. It's a natural response to be attracted to the opposite sex. That's how we're created. But just knowing, lines shouldn't be crossed. Um, so when you are, like you said, instead of going outside the home, if you're open as to what it is in your relationship that you so desire and you look for, without judgment or criticism, because by some point in time, you should know your companion enough to know where fulfillment should be fulfilled. Um, so your heart's desire, your preference, um, into a into the sexual field of affection, validation. All of those um, will allow you to be combined right in your home front, and not to look for outside of that. A lot of people I've seen and see and hear and still see where people look for those outside their home. And so unfortunately, I think I was talking to my sister recently where this young man was in his marriage for 20 some years, and um things weren't going on at home. And it's like, the communication is so important because if you have open and honest, transparent communication when it comes to your mental and emotional needs and desires, the home front should not be it shouldn't be a dragon. It shouldn't be a dungeon where you cannot explore and be straightforward. As well as I read something on Facebook recently. I think we probably talked about that too on the last time we were here, where a woman was upset because the communication she thought her and her guy had was so good that when he mentioned about his preference of porn, that he went through this, she went through this whole spiel, and it's like, those type of things we do want to be kind of cautious on, but I think it just caught her off guard. Excuse me, her responding like that. She didn't know what to do with it. But your companion, your mate's supposed to be your best friend, so that's somebody you're supposed to be able to lean on and talk to, and be open. And then again, too, sometimes when people have those type of response, they're not sure how to handle it, or maybe they had some a bad experience or situation. We don't know, but again, by them being in that relationship for 19 years, by then they should already know the history and longevity of the things that they have experienced. Um, so like I said, topic, this topic is so heavy and so deep. Um, it it off balance and open you up to put you in balance on some things as well. But so when you're having mental and emotional infidelity, it leads off into other reasons that people may cheat. So lack of affection. Um, it's so important. Excuse me, it's so important to show that affection to others, especially just as a human being, period. But when you're in a relationship, um, it's just that much more important to show that affection, um, so that you're on the same accord. I think that's where that kind of have its balance at. When you're feeling another reason people may cheat, feeling deprived or neglected by their partner. Um, and again, everything has its place, and everything does have to have a balance. Um, And it's, and for some people it has to be, I guess that comes with more in the territory of getting to know somebody, or um not being selfish. Because as I'm sitting here just looking at the words, feeling deprived or neglected by a partner, sometimes people do get caught up in themselves. It doesn't matter what it is that they're doing. Sometimes we just lose track of time. It doesn't even mean it. It doesn't. It's not even personal. It just happened. Um, what else you think may cause someone to cheat?
Well, like I said, and I'm still gonna stand on this. I'm a firm believer of it. Anything prior to the action, it was all a thought first. Something
Mm,
gave birth to that thought.
yeah.
So once we learn ourselves and figure out who we are, what we want, what we're looking for, and what we're willing to do to get it, we will remove a lot of obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
Because look, back in the day, right? Way, way, way back in the day, right? I ain't gonna take this there, but I'm gonna just drop this. Way, way, way back in the day, right? Um, Couples, well, individuals was living for hundreds of years, and these people was married, had like 1 million children, and all this and that. They stayed together those hundreds of years, period, because they knew what they had was much better than anything that they could go find.
Yeah.
They knew that. Now, for the sake of argument, I'm gonna play devil's advocate real quick. For the sake of argument, you want something different. You want something spicy. Okay. And then you start flirting. Okay. And then the feelings start happening. And then the phone calls start happening. And the text messages start happening. And then the visits start happening. And all that stuff start looking good. It start feeling good. Yeah. And then the gifts and then the popping up at the job and all this and that type stuff. All that stuff start happening. And then you find yourself in a box and in a place that you really didn't want to be in. But at the beginning, it was feeling good. As all women will say, well, you did this in the beginning. Now you don't do this no more. Okay, this, that, and the third. But look, they did the same thing in the beginning. Now look where they at. I had to say goodbye to an uncle last year. Married 56 years. Perfect marriage. Perfect marriage. Killed me when he died. I said, if I lived as long as he did, I would want exactly what he had. He was married to the same woman for 56 years. They went to high school together. They went to college together. They ended up working for the United States government together. And all that. And one of the biggest things that he told me, one as far as his marriage was concerned, because everybody's marriage is different. Although all marriages are structured to a point the same way. He said the secret that he used to stay married to my aunt was he never fully learned her. And it took me some years to understand what it was that he was talking about. If you get to a point in your relationship that you feel that you know someone, there's absolutely nothing else left to learn from that person, then of course you're going to do the natural thing, evolve, you're going to move on. But you have to know and understand and accept why you're moving on first. Are you moving on because it's time? You're moving on because it's done? Or you're moving on because you think you see this grass, it's all pretty and green. You know what I'm saying? You have to laser focus your relationship. If we as men and women can laser focus our jobs, our home, our car, you may or may not have one. If we can laser focus our kids, that vacation we plan for, if we can take that laser focus and apply it not only to ourselves but to our spouses, there will be way fewer divorces because nothing would interfere and nothing would supersede with the first foundations of this thing we call home and heart. Nothing. Nothing would get in. No one would have time for that because everybody would be exploring one another, doing different things. I had an uncle, very 92 years old, came home from World War II. 92 years old. When he came home, I remember he used to sit us down with all the boys anyway, and talk to us about girls, as it were. And sometimes he would be funny, but other times he would be serious. And one of the most serious things that he ever said to me, and this stayed with me today, he said, if you find something or someone that you love enough that you're willing to give them the heart out of your chest to see them live, that's what this thing called love is all about. It is about up and down, good and bad, in and out. It is a miraculous journey all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, I kind of sat down. I had to really think about that, and I turned around and I asked one of my aunts. I got smacked in the face, but it was a lesson nonetheless. Um, I if I'm talking to you, if I'm dealing with you, how I am, I have to be in a position. Well, look, here, take this loan. Here, take this kidney. That's the levels that I'm at. If I could shave off years of my life to make sure that nothing happens to you, that you live, I'll do that. That's who I am. That's how I get down. I don't know nothing else. If I'm with you, I'm with you. There's not a person, place, or thing, or object outside of death herself can remove me from what it is that I'm engaged in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's some of the things that the younger generation males have not been taught. They're not understanding what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Yeah, okay, you could go around and
Yep.
play all this, that, and the third, but I'm one of the few black men on the planet who can tell you I have never had an STD.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Never. I have never had an STD. And I've been with more than my fair share. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to make a
Right.
point.
Yeah.
My thing is, if the universe wants you to do X, Y, and Z, you will do it. You might not do it then, oh, but you're going to go do it. It's going to happen. Now, we was discussing something a few days ago about maturity. You have to be mature enough and comfortable enough within yourself to say, look, man, I'm done. I'm leaving the pasture. You know what I'm saying? I'm going home. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And be done. Okay, yeah, all right, fine. Kick, laugh, joke, play, and all that. All right, that's good. That's cool. Not a problem. As long as nothing damages the foundation that you have built in your home,
Mm-hmm.
everything else is cake from that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. And this is another one that caught me. It said fear of intimacy, which we just basically touched on already, because you have these people that have spoken. They I think, and I can speak, I think, on experience, me personally, where sometimes we think we're supposed to be a certain way, but if that person's not making you comfortable enough to become what they desire, because sometimes people don't say what they want. If they don't say what they want, how you know what's to come? There can't be any growth. Avoidance of conflict. This causes, this is another thing that causes people to cheat. Avoidance of conflict. Mm, I guess I'll say, yeah, if you're trying to keep from popping your cap, blowing steam and saying cruel, mean things, I think at a moment there's a time and a place for that. But if it's a thing that's consistent, yeah, because then, well, again, if it's a consistent thing of avoiding conflict, can't grow. Again, it can't grow. So, but for peace sake, definitely, if it causes us to flare up and you know, maybe say things or do things that we know we really don't because we're just in the heat of the moment. So those are for me personally, you know, as long as it's not a consistent thing, that's how a person do, because we have to learn, as you saw, you know, break through the barrier. Things come uncomfortable, conversations be uncomfortable, say and speak on some things. Um, and that causes growth as well. Um, Another one was saying, seek and change, as you just already basically stated as well, or variety. Um, if you're not, if a person becomes so bored with whom they choose and where they choose to be at, um, then they should work together to um to create and have what it is that they desire. I mean, I think all these things I think are avoidable. They all avoidable and they all just come with communication. It says a falling out of love. How can someone fall out of love? And I was like, I think abuse,
Agreed. Agreed.
abuse in every form,
Agreed.
mental, emotional, physical, verbal. I've been all up and down the track, so I know. Um, falling out of love, but yet love you enough to let you go because I have to love me too because especially if I feel like I'm at a breaking point for my sanity's sake and sanity reason, that resulted in separating or expulsion. Um, Another one that I had taken, this was my last one I had taken. It was low communication. I'm not sure low communication. I mean, just very minimum communication, enough to say, and I experienced that as well. Just say enough to get through the day, and that's it. You know, what does that mean? Oh, maybe do you got to go get groceries, or just very basic communication, nothing that brings you together. So that's my understanding of that one, of low
Agreed.
communication.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm big on communication because
Hmm.
you won't know something unless you ask. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you evolve.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I me personally, um, I'm the type of guy that's gonna put it all out up there on the table and let you be the judge. Either you stand or you walk away. Simple. But my thing is, I know what I did within me, and I know I was cool with. It. I know I was comfortable with. It.
Hmm.
So I'm at a point now. You have a choice: stay or go. Simple. It ain't hard. Either stay or you go. I want to step back to something you just said. Falling out of love. There's a blind spot to that. There's a small blind spot to that. It's a minuscule blind spot, but it can blow up into so much. Um, in order to fall out of something, you've had to have been in it first. You have had to understand what it is. Um, that's like, I guess, for lack of a better example, falling out of life. People die. They just fell out of life, but they was here first. Now, falling out of love, people can do things that'll piss you off, that'll aggravate you to no end, burn your nerve endings. But just because that happens, you don't stop loving them if you already love them. That's why I'm a firm believer. You can't fall out of something that you was never in, and you definitely can't deal with something that you have truly no understanding of and about. Especially if those things aren't covered within yourself first, because there's no way you can give something what you don't have.
Hmm.
Period. If you don't have love for yourself in here, there's no way you can share it and spread it to nobody else. If you don't have the proper grammar to speak to someone in whatever format for whatever reason, hey, you need to go back to school. You need to go learn something. Hey, dude, okay, this relationship didn't work. Why? What did I do? Or well, what did this person do? And this, that, and the third. You start breaking down and you start analyzing and you start minimizing. And again, laser point focus on the things that matter, the things that are of most importance to you. Um, I'm 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 big on action. I'm big on words. I'm big on How can I say this? I'm big on the fundamental basics that make man and women who and what they are. Because there should be not a day that no one wakes up that they didn't learn something about themselves.
That's
Not a
true.
day. Now
That's
that's
true.
just me. Now I could be
No,
going
that's
over the
true.
top. I could be going too far to the left. I could be going too
That's
far to the right.
that's
But
realistic.
there's not a day that you do not have the ability to
Hmm.
open your eyes and draw breath that you do not learn something about yourself. You could be in a restaurant. God bring you red toothpicks. Nah, man, I want the regular color. Okay, as small as that is, but at the same time, you just took massive steps forward, all because of the color of a toothpick. You took massive steps because you stood your ground. You asked for what it was that you wanted. You were directing what you wanted, and you didn't give no indications in any misunderstanding in any shape, form, or fashion. So all four bases was covered. Period. Now, relationship wise, that's a different matter. Those are things I think you will have to work on daily. Again, you'll learn something about yourself. You'll learn something about your partner. And as time goes on, it'll get easier. Stuff will fall into place. And I'm not saying a pattern, but I'm saying things will fall into place.
Hmm.
Things that you want, things that you're looking for, things that you're asking for will fall into place. Only thing you have to do is just be ready when it happens. Keep learning,
Hmm.
keep growing, keep evolving,
Yeah.
discover new and different stuff. You know what I'm saying? And because this thing called life is so vast and it's so
Hmm.
limited, we have very little time to learn what it is that we need to learn. But while
Hmm.
we're here in the process of learning, we can have fun at the same time.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So this emotional, and I think this mental and emotional, just alone itself, those words can cause a huge miscommunication. Because again, you might have someone that experienced something that the other one may have not experienced to understand why they project the way they project. What because we know what fear said. There's fear. Still a little guilty myself personally, but um, and that just over time because uh, that's healing over time. Because if that's all you endure, though you continue to try to move forward, it's still some indentation there. So you know, that mental and emotional is a very, very thin line, very, very thin line for people to be sane um, in regards as well as I can't help but to bring it back because I was just talking about my nephew again today. I still can't understand why he, took himself as the way he did because we don't never know the depths. See, I always say, and I think this is why I always try to be the light for other people. We don't know how much more they can take, how much more um, let down, heartbreak, mishaps. I don't know how much more somebody could take. I wouldn't want to be the reason somebody just unearth themselves. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Earth themselves, take themselves out, just end it all. Um, and that's why I always try to be so kind to people as much as possible. Um, and it's just what experiences for me. I can say, for example, through some of my family members, like, I'm on a different plateau. I love my folks, and I don't know if this is proper to say because I'm on World Wide Web, but I don't hide it. I've had to tell people that before because we all human, but you can't go around doing and saying things to people and then expect them not to become so consumed. That's mentally draining when you're negative and when you're not loving and kind. That causes an emotional baggage. So what do you do to keep your sanity? You have to part yourself. So, um, you know, either way, um, people have to really do sit down and be open. And that just reminds me as well. If it's not being discussed, how can you heal and get past it? Sometimes it's complicated to do these things with some people in any relationship um if if people don't come with a open mind and open heart and come in a loving way, and it does get overbearing. So I think that I'm not sure you had anything else you want to add to that. I had so much
I,
more
I,
stuff, and I'm
I,
like,
I know, I know,
I just
I
I
know.
gotta
Yeah, exactly. I know,
too
I
much
know.
to consume.
And that's why I said what I said at the beginning. All sin was a thought first. All of
Hmm.
it. All of it. Good, bad, and indifferent. It was a thought first.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I find that if you can somewhat train your mind, your body is going to follow its actions. You won't be susceptible, as it were, to what our grandma used to say, Jezebels and stuff like that. And what granddad used to say, Tom, Dicks, and Harry's.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you avoid all that. You totally sidestep all that because you're, as you said, you're at a different plateau, not only in life, but as a person. And
Hmm.
that by itself dictates and it helps with your other endeavors. Because
Yeah.
if you constantly straddling the fence, you're getting nothing done.
Mm-mm.
You're
You
getting
just
absolutely
concentrating on
nothing
trying to
done.
survive. You just concentrating on trying to be.
E- exactly.
Yeah.
And now the COVID thing hit. Now everybody definitely scared to death. So what you gonna do? Look, okay, they got toys, they got sex shops. Go have
Hmm.
fun, go do your thing or whatever. You know what I mean? Um, that too's a part of nature, but don't let that be your downfall. Don't
Hmm.
don't let don't let something physical manifest itself in your reality to the point that you self-destruct.
Hmm.
I don't think I could say it any plainer or any clearer than that.
That makes sense.
And if us can get to our younger generation, our young men, our young ladies, and tell them they're worth more. There's so much more to this thing called life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
hop this, hop that. Okay, fine. But what happened when you 30?
Yeah.
And then you trying to figure out how you got there in the closet all by yourself, hunched up, don't want to talk to nobody.
Yep.
You wondering how you got to this bridge that you're getting ready to jump off of, and then you wondering why you sitting across the table from the person that you say you love, and they slide you divorce papers. All this begins with a thought. I'm always going to say that. I'm always
Yeah.
going to believe it.
Yeah. It's like thinking
All
of an escape
Everything
before you even
begins
begin
with
to live.
thought.
Hmm. Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You haven't even touched the maze. You don't even know what the walls look like. But you already so gun ho about the end, you forget about the journey. It's stuff that has to happen to get to where you are.
Mm.
And that's why I can understand some women out here saying, um, men aren't mature. They aren't developed. They're lacking in this, that, and the third. Granted, some men, not all, grew up in a house with no father. Some grew up with a father that was abusive. Some grew up with a father. They only saw him or showed up at graduations or special events and stuff like that. You
Hmm.
you 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 have various backgrounds coming together as a people,
Yeah.
as a race, as a species. I'm
Hmm.
saying man and woman, period.
Right.
And the differences are so minute, but when you examine them, they're like they're
Hmm.
like nuclear explosions. They're like, wow, I never knew this was
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Because they magnify, of course. They. Yeah. You know.
Exactly. So
eh, Yeah.
I think ultimately it again goes back to what you said earlier. You have to have the ability to love yourself first before you can love
Hmm.
anybody else.
Yeah. And
You
open
have to.
communication. But see, and that's and I think to balance that out with that mental and emotional period, it won't have to go that way if people communicate. If they just, even if it don't make sense to the other person, because sometimes it will not always make sense to the other person. Again, because level of experience and things. So if we just, hey, this is where I've been, this is why I do this, this is why I say this, open up other avenues to life experiences, because me personally, I may have been in a box for a long time, experiences, experiences, it come and go. Some we miss. So as long as the communication is open, I think we can, this mental and emotional infidelity can be, it could be without, really, it can. Because if you're dealing with somebody, you're saying what you want, and you're saying, this is what I so desire, or it's the same qualities you're looking for. It won't be nothing. It won't be nothing harsh. I don't understand. I don't understand why so many people fall short like that.
And that's why I
That's
said
just,
these guys years and years and years ago was living hundreds of years with the same woman. And
yeah.
now today they barely struggling to get through five.
And I know, and it's because people want. And another thing, the honesty, that is so important. If you're not gonna be experienced as well, you know what you said. You don't tell me what I want to hear. Say what needs to be, even if it hurts. I've always been this type of open person. I might get upset and say, I'm gonna be all right. I'll get over it. I will get over it, because sometimes that's necessary. In order for us to grow, we have to be able to accept the things that may hurt us. I'd rather get my growth and stuff than still be sitting there trying to, allow, and other people may make me think that I was okay. It was okay with what I said or did. I'm like that with my work in my workforce. Don't let me do something and then somebody come, Neva, you listen, tell me, don't let me just do things and then y'all just don't let me know. Because then I'm thinking this is okay. You know what? Now you're creating a pattern, allow me to make a pattern of something that's not right. So it's hard truth. It's hard truth out there. Honesty and open communication will
It's
alleviate
time to
a lot
grow
of
up.
that. Hmm.
It's time to grow up. It's time to grow
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I
And it's
am
baby
not,
steps.
and I refuse. I will not be a party to. I will not validate. And I'm going to say it, and this will be the last time I say it. I think, I hope. I will not join the Mr. and Mrs. Smiths of the world. No, no,
Yes.
no,
Okay.
no.
So,
As we say today, unfortunately, I'm not built like that.
right. Okay.
So
Yes. Yes. So we're gonna wrap it up. That was quick, short, and sweet, and to the point, because I had at my bullet points. But it's nice to be able to just kind of examine it and share with other people. Um, because again, it's just so many people have even given up on love, and I'm sure those are those main points right there that they have given up. Mental and emotional, they're so drained. They're so drained that they can't tolerate anymore, because people won't be as open and honest as you say back in the days. Because back in the days, that's how it is. Hey, Leona, what you talking about, Chris? What you say? No, Chris. What you say, Chris? I'm
mm-mm.
okay, Leona. How you doing? Um, yeah. So, yep. Open communication and honesty will handle everything, and patience. That is another important one. Yeah. Good, Leona. Thank you for coming on. I have some more videos that's on my album, or you can watch the YouTube channel of the Love Storm Show. Or if you want to even come on the show, we could chat it out if you got a topic. Um, My next show will be, guys, on the 7th. I may be doing one next weekend. I'm not sure just yet. But one that I definitely have scheduled is May 7th for Women in Battle, Seeking the Attention of Men. And my guest will be Siobhan Perry. Then I have one lined up for May 14th with Chris Robertson. He's the chairman of Easy Greasy Labor Incorporated. That topic would be challenges facing the Black household and Black love. So that he and I'll be kind of piggyback. We'll have co-host Aaron Jackson. You'll be on too. And me and Chris, we'll be picking up, kind of piggybacking off. I had him on the show before, so we'll be piggybacking off of that topic as well. So as I always say, love is everything. Turn it up and don't stop loving so you don't miss your blessing. I know we have a lot of bleeding hearts out here, and I said it to say this. I've had my own fair share, and just don't give up. So everybody, you gotta heal yourself, your mental capacity, and definitely stay prayerful, because can't do it without that. So I want to thank everybody, and thank you, Aaron, too. Thank you, Chris. Respect as well to you, sir.
Thank you.
So we're gonna close it out. So everybody, y'all have a good night. Thank you for coming to the Love Stone Show. Good night.
Good night.